What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and it's finally here. We've got a special package from Samsung, which you already know from the title. I mean, it's not really much of a surprise. We've got inside here the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, but in addition to that, we also have the Samsung Galaxy Buds Live. Nice packaging with the whole bronze theme. I like it, I like it. And here we are. So we'll unbox the Note 20 Ultra first, of course, and then we'll have a look at the Galaxy Buds Live, which I'm also very interested in. Now, the Note 20 Ultra does have the classic Note packaging. We've got the S Pen here in the middle. I quite like the design of this box. We also have Note 20 Ultra 5G, and that is because the Note 20 Ultra is only available in a 5G variant. All right, let's open this up. So excited. Presented with the device first, of course, and it is in the Mystic bronze color, which looks so good. I'm gonna leave that to the side for just a second. Let's see what else we get inside the box. Now we've got the usual bits inside the box. We've got a quick start guide. There's a SIM card tool, a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable, some AKG USB Type-C earphones, which do have a braided cable, as well as a 25-watt fast charger. Now, normally you do get some nibs for the S Pen as well as a removal tool. This is not here on my review unit because this is an early sample, so your retail unit will most likely have that, as well as some other bits potentially, but that will vary depending on your region. Now let's get to what you guys are all here to see, and that is the removal of the plastic from the back. Get ready. Landed back on the table. Fell, but so satisfying. And here it is. I absolutely love this Mystic bronze color. This is also available in a black as well as a white. Those have a glossy back, but I absolutely love this matte finish, which doesn't attract as many fingerprints. And I love the way it looks when the light hits it. It's got this really elegant look. Yeah, I think that's the right word, elegant. Now, this is also the first smartphone in the world that has Gorilla Glass 7, which is more durable, and it's also more scratch resistant compared to Gorilla Glass 6. So let me just go out and bring my tools to... No, I'm joking. I'm not really gonna do that. This is my device. I'll leave that for Zach to test out how durable this is. We've got an aluminium frame, which is also in this bronze color, looks really slick. And then there's this camera module, which does protrude quite a bit. It is quite a big camera bump. Now, one thing that a lot of you guys want to see is how this compares to, say, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, which also has quite a large camera bump. And now looking at these side by side, the Note 20 Ultra, the camera bump isn't as wide, but it is slightly taller and it is thicker. However, the device is thinner. So overall, I'd say that the Note 20 Ultra does feel a bit more comfortable for me. If you want to see a detailed comparison between these two, I've already done a video. You're in luck. I'll link that in the cards and you can watch that after this video. Now, we've still got IP68 water and dust resistance, which is great. And the Note has the squared off edges, which, you know, we've seen from the Note series before, makes it really stand out and look unique amongst everything else out there. And let's turn this around and have a look at the display. And here it is, guys. This looks so good. It's a 6.9 inch dynamic AMOLED X2 display. That's what Samsung call it. And this has a peak brightness of 1500 nits, which makes it one of the brightest, if not the brightest, smartphone displays out there. Now, we do have a Quad HD Plus resolution, so it's a very high pixel density, but I think more importantly, we do have a 120 Hz refresh rate. Now, this is only gonna work at full HD, so you can't have Quad HD as well as 120 Hz on at the same time, similar to what we had on the S20 Ultra. This is to preserve battery life, but what you do have is an adaptive display, and this will adjust the refresh rate depending on what you're viewing on screen. So if you're viewing something static, there's really no need for 120 Hz, and that should give you better battery life. Now, within this display, there is the Ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner, which is the same as what we've seen on previous Samsung devices over the past couple of years. I mean, it works really well, it's fast. I generally don't have many problems with the ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner, although I was hoping for the 3D Sonic Max. Maybe we'll see that for the next generation. Also within this display is the front-facing camera. Now this is a punch-out. I really don't mind the punch-out because the bezels are very, very small, and it is smaller compared to the Note 10 Plus that we had last year. It is a 10 megapixel front-facing camera with an f2.2 aperture, can film at up to 4K 60 frames a second. But what we're most interested in is the cameras on the back. That's so new on a Samsung device, not having fingerprints when you turn it around. Love this color. Anyway, so on the rear-facing camera is where we've really had some changes. The camera module, I do like the look of it. It looks much better in my opinion to what we had on the S20 Ultra. And we've got 3 different lenses. The primary camera is the 108 megapixel sensor from Samsung. It has been refined from what we had on the S20 Ultra. And this time we also have a dedicated laser autofocus sensor, and that's going to help with autofocus. The S20 Ultra did have some issues with autofocus, which a lot of us experienced, and although some of these were improved with software, having the laser autofocus hardware on here should make things much better. We have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. As far as I can see, it's very similar to what we had on the S20 Ultra. I hope there have been some improvements on here because I did prefer the Note 10 Plus ultra-wide camera to the S20 Ultra this year. And finally, we have a telephoto periscope zoom camera. This is again 12 megapixels and it can give you up to 5 times optical zoom and up to 50 times space zoom. That's what Samsung call it. It's essentially digital zoom. Now that's improved on the 4 times optical zoom that we had on the S20 Ultra. And I'm glad Samsung have gone away from the 100x zoom, which, was cool, but it really didn't work that well. So I, of course, cannot wait to test out these cameras and put them against something else, SuperSaf style. Definitely let me know in the comments below which device you'd like me to put this up against first. Now, disclaimer, I am gonna have to wait till another software update and some embargoes before I can publish the camera comparison. So do bear with me, but I do promise that I will get onto one as soon as possible. For video, we do have 8K once again at up to 24 frames a second. And we do have some improvements for the software. So we've got the Pro Video app, which is going to allow you to do a few different things. You're going to be able to get a much smoother zoom rather than just having to snap. So if you are filming and you want to get more of a cinematic zoom, you're going to be able to do that. And we've also got some improved audio recording options. So you can select Omni mic, front, rear. You can also plug in an external USB-C mic. And there's also Bluetooth. So with the Galaxy Buds Live, if you've got those plugged in, it can actually pick up the audio from there. So if you are in a noisy environment, then that should help kind of clear out a lot of that background noise. And moving on, let's take a look around the device. So on the right-hand side, we have the power button as well as the volume buttons. These have moved from the left-hand side that we had on the Note 10 Plus and now on the right-hand side. There's actually nothing on the left-hand side. At the bottom, there is a USB Type-C port. There's a speaker, which is one of 2. We've got another one in the earpiece. So we do have stereo speakers tuned by AKG, which sound really good. And then we have the S Pen. Now this is on the left-hand side, not the right-hand side, but it's really what makes the Note series unique. Now you can see that as soon as I've taken it out, we do get the Air Actions screen and it lets you try this out. Air Actions lets you do certain things with the S Pen remotely, so you can kind of be far away from it and you're still going to be able to do a few things like move up, do a kind of left arrow. We've got a shake action and we've got a clockwise circle action. Okay, exit tutorial. Now, honestly speaking, I'm not somebody who personally uses Air Actions. The only thing I really use it for is as a remote trigger for the camera, which I find very, very useful if you want to take a group shot and you don't really want to be using a timer and quickly running across. Just having that S Pen is so useful. And this S Pen has been improved. We've got latency down to 9 milliseconds, which is, I believe, the smoothest writing experience that you're going to get on a smartphone. It's at the same level as the Apple Pencil. And there's also some new features such as improved handwriting recognition, as well as the ability to import and annotate PDFs. On the top, we've got the SIM card tray, which does have space for a micro SD card, so you can expand the storage on the Note 20 Ultra, which is great. And that is on top of the base storage, which is a little bit confusing. 128 gigabytes in the US, 256 gigabytes in the UK, Europe, and other regions. And you can also get a version with 512 gigabytes. Now, why is there this difference between the storage in the UK and the US? Well, in the UK and Europe, etc., you will be getting the Exynos 990 series chipset. That's what's going to be powering the Note 20 Ultra. That is the same chipset that we had on the S20 Ultra. But in the US, you will be getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset. Now, this is something that I've endlessly ranted about. We already had a gap in performance between the Exynos and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 on the S20 Ultra. I covered that in detail. Now we've got even more of a gap because the 865 Plus is a more superior chipset. Now, how is this going to affect your day-to-day and how is it going to affect the battery life? Well, this is something that we're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to try to get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus variant over as soon as I can, and I will try to do a long-term review and really let you know what the performance is like and what the battery life is like. We do have 12 gigabytes of RAM and the battery is 4,500 milliamps. Now, I would expect good battery life on here because of the adaptive refresh rate, but obviously this is something that I will feed back on. We do have support for 25-watt charging, which I mentioned earlier. There is no 45-watt charging support like we had on the S20 Ultra. 15-watt wireless charging as well as reverse wireless charging support, so you can charge things like your buds on the back of the Note 20 Ultra. For software, of course, we have Android 10 with One UI, and the Note 20 Ultra does come with an ultra wideband chip inbuilt, and this should allow faster transfer between other devices that also have an ultra wideband chip. And going forward, it should help with things like unlocking your car. I'm not too sure what the benefits will be long term, so we'll take a look at that. And we also have support for wireless DeX, so you'll be able to connect the Note 20 Ultra to an external display as long as it supports Miracast technology, and you'll be able to have somewhat of a desktop experience on that external display. Previously, you had to use a cable of some sort to have this connected, and having that completely wireless is obviously a big advantage. Now let's talk about the price. So the S20 Ultra in the UK is going to be starting at £1,180. That is for a 256 gigabyte option. And in the US, it's going to be starting at $1,300 for the 128 gigabyte variant. Now, this is more compared to what the Note 10 Plus came in at last year, but it is cheaper compared to what the S20 Ultra came in at this year. Are you going to be picking this up, and what additional coverage would you like me to do with the Note 20 Ultra? Do drop me a comment below and let me know. Let's now move on to the Galaxy Buds Live. Now, one thing to mention straight away is that if you do pre-order the Note 20 Ultra, I believe in certain regions you can get the Galaxy Buds Live included. So do go ahead and check up on that. The release date is the 21st of August. Let's check these out. So inside the box, we've got the usual stuff. There's a quick start guide. There's a USB Type A to USB Type C cable. We've got some ear tips, and then we've got the Galaxy Buds Live. Now, these are in this mystic bronze color, which looks really nice. They are also available in a white and a black. Let's go ahead and open these up and see how quick the connection is. All right, so I'm going to open them here. Shiny. And took a few seconds, but we now have the Galaxy Buds Live pop up. New device has been connected. Connect. Allow. We get an indication of how much battery life we've got on the earbuds as well as the case. And it immediately brings up the app with all of the instructions on how to wear these. So let's go ahead and try them out. You're all set. Okay, that was pretty easy. I like the setup. It was very straightforward, as it was with the Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus, which are currently my go-tos. And in terms of the fit, I have to say, it does, in my first impressions, obviously I'm sat down here, I'm not going to go for a run right now, but they do seem to be quite comfortable, and I have the weirdest shaped ears in the world because most earbuds just don't fit my ears. but these seem to be sitting in very well. And they also look quite different to the traditional earbuds that we've been seeing for the past many years. So props to Samsung for coming up with a design that is very unique, although these do look like beans. Yeah, I'm sure there's been lots of beans jokes already. Okay, they sound pretty good to me. I of course can't test out the active noise cancellation. My good friend E from Bored at Work has actually done a review of these, and he's an audiophile, so I'll link to his video in the cards so you can go ahead and check that out. I'm definitely not an earphone expert, shall we say. For battery life, you do have 8 hours of listening on the buds themselves, but with the case, you can get up to 29 hours on a full charge, which is very impressive. A 5-minute charge on here is going to give you about an hour of listening, and there is wireless charging supported, so you can drop this on a wireless charger. And for pricing, these do start at £180 in the UK or around $170 in the US. And guys, that's the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra as well as the Samsung Galaxy Buds Live. Hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. As mentioned, there's going to be lots more coverage here on the channel with the Note 20 Ultra. So if you want to see all of that first, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of it. Once again, do let me know what coverage you'd like me to do. I'm going to try to do as much as possible. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time. This looks so good.